Yes, I'm the one. Good morning.
Good morning, brother. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, I would like to thank the organization of this first conference, the national conference on Pan-Africanism, especially in a special way, the Debre Tabor University of Ethiopia, Real University of Kenya, Mewai International University of Nigeria, and obviously the University of Zambezi, where I belong. And I would like to thank in a special way my director of the Faculty of Arts and Humanities, Dr. Iqbal Alias, who encouraged me to take part in this conference. My topic is about participatory democracy to sustainable governance in Mozambique. This is my topic: participatory democracy to sustainable development in Mozambique. Anyway, I would like to start saying that today, the state cannot by itself cover all the social problems or risks resulting from its own weakness and the inability of the market. We are living in a globalized world.
Can you make your PowerPoint full screen, Dr. Pedro? Make it full screen so that we can see properly.
How can I do so that?
No problem. Go ahead. Now it's better.
Okay.
Now
it's better?
Yeah, it's better now.
Yes, I've been saying that nowadays, today, the state cannot by itself cover all social problems due to the way the world is being governed, the globalized world, whereby the welfare state is no longer the structure or the platform that used by the governors. We are moving, therefore, from a welfare state to well-mixed state, or welfare mixed state, where there are no longer social protection policies focused on community, but social protection policies suggested by the community themselves, as used to say Rodriguez. So we mean that local population define priorities for solving their problems. That is, they're actors in their own development. So here, it's like saying that I partake, therefore I am in the Ubuntu flows. I am existing in so far as I participate. As the previous colleague of mine said, one in all and all in one. So I want to start from representative and participatory democracy to sustainable governance. I would like to say that according to a certain politician, Norberto Bobbio, said representative democracy generally means the collective deliberation that concerns the entire collectivity are taken not directly by those who are part of it, but by people elected for this purpose. But today, nowadays, in the world, more and more people are happy with this political system that we call representative democracy, or feel indifferent from it. One of the reasons for this unhappiness is the difficulty of national government in responding to the consent of people. Several times, if not often, these representatives are preoccupied with their own interests or in the interest of their political parties and not the interest of people whom they pretend to represent. So within this society grows the idea of participating in the management of state affairs without repressing it. Instead of opposing, the civil society organization and other people of goodwill, we put here religious people, academics, intellectuals, traditional leaders, becomes a stronger partner in the solution of various social, economic, and political problems. Within this, it's necessary to find a new way of democracy that is comprehensive and inclusive, It is participatory democracy, as said Boaventura de Souza Santos, or deliberative and concerned democracy, as said Diogo Freitas do Amaral, or we call it decentralized democracy according to our own point of view. Democratic theory allows the participation of people in all fields of society. It begins by admitting the difference in thinking about social, economic, and political reality. It is within this standing fork that the Mozambican philosopher called Severino Nguenya notes that we must have the courage to question ourselves in the depth about what hinders our progress so that we can envision a better democracy. In turn, Alan Turing, a politician, recalled that democracy is the recognition that individuals and communities have the right to be the actors in their own history. This is how civil society is called to political participation with a view to sustainable government. It's therefore a must to reinvent democracy. In the other ways, the sociologist Antonio Ferran said, we have to democratize democracy, or we have to opt for participatory democracy in our view, because the current or classical representative democracy, although it's the most widespread form in the world, often does not represent the will of the people or citizens, but rather they represent the will of members of political parties, of a private interest of some people, in a special way of some governors. In order to such a participatory, deliberative, consent democracy to take place or to exist, or to be filled in the proper way, it's necessary a political participation. That is, the discussion of political, economic, social issues by all people. It's through political participation that those who are felt on the sidelines, we mean those who are not in the center of the republic or in the decisive powers, such as the government, are included within the democratic process, contributing to the definition of a community development policy in which they are inserted. It is within this democratic participation or participatory democracy that sustainable government is possible. Anyway, what are the conditions for sustainable government in Mozambique, which must be also conditions for some African countries? For a long time, it was believed that the right to vote was the people's only means of expression through which they could decide on the life of the country. However, there are some governments that even with this privilege assured, continue to govern their people with an iron fist. Gradually, society become aware of the arrogance of states and the government and of their growing non-compliance with their obligation. Anton Giddens says that citizens are no longer necessarily identified with political parties, but with specific cause or claims. Like in most poor countries, Mozambique is moving from dependence to another. One dependence, I mean, to another. From colonial dependence, it passes to ideological dependence that called communism, and now it has entered the phase of financial industrial dependence. This new form of dependence places structural limits on development insofar as it depends on the export sector and is under the monolithic control of a multinational corporation. The question would be whether under these conditions, we can pursue national, endogenous, and sustainable government. Here, we understand that civil society has a major intervention role as a necessary and unavoidable agent in sustainable governance policies today. Furthermore, Mozambique today lives with the discovery or exploitation of natural or mineral resource and with the political military situation, a state which requires a new approach to social, economic, and political development. On the one hand, it is essential to encourage economic growth, but on the other hand, it is necessary that their condition of peace and security, as well as their fair and equitable redistribution of income. And this necessarily involves a fair, genuine, and sustainable government. Although, according to our constitution, Mozambique is in a regime of democratic rule of law and in a multi-party political system where there is a political space for action for opposition parties, for independent civil society organization, as well for the order of regular election. Mozambique is still a serious democratic deficit crystallized in a fragile display of citizen interest, which is revealed through low levels of political participation, low citizen trust in state institutions due to its persistent poor performance. As recently, in one of his appearances, the former president of the Republic of Mozambique, Armando Miro Guebuza, said that he did not trust the public prosecutor's office. However, it's important to highlight some organizations that are doing their best in participatory democracy, like Mask Civil Society Alliance Mechanism, CP Public Integrity Center, Yes Institute for Social Economic Studies, ODR Rural Development Observatory, FMO Budget Monitoring Fund, Catholic Church through letters from the Episcopal Conference of Mozambique and the National Commission for Justice and Peace. So in order to materialize this type of sustainable government, there must be a broad mobilization of the population in the debate and participation in the resolution of the local needs, raising awareness of the construction of a nation where the issues of people and of the country are a priority. Because governance implies a transformed society, improving people's standards of life, allowing everyone to have access to healthcare, education, and food. There are several reforms that should be implanted and would greatly contribute to governance and the improvement of democratic process in the country. First, must be the balance of power between the many political forces and the social actors must be greater. Rules and regulations must be applied fairly and transparently. The rule of law must be respected, and the mechanism for popular participation must be transformed into simpler consultation process. Mozambique, concluding, Mozambique governance is still very incipient and deficient. In order to materialize the sustainable government where everyone is called to participate, not all political party, there must be a broad mobilization of the population. These governments will not work if only a few dictated the policy that a country must adopt. Ensuring democratic decision-making implies ensuring that there is a broad participation far beyond experts, economists, and politicians. So it's required for the state to obtain the opinion and the approval of civil society or all mankind, since the virtue of democracy or sustainable governance is to argue and defend decision in a transparent way. According to a certain philosopher and sociologist, Abumas, the more the citizens participate in the construction of the social development project and the fundamental resolution, the more is linked, the more society is structured and the social institutions work better. All decision political participation process required knowledge and information. The right to access to public information is enshrined in the Constitution of the Republic of Mozambique. In reality, however, we found that access to information on governance, politics, or agenda, like plans, budgets, reports, or the implementation of annual plans and budget execution is still very limited or secretive. Thus, the right to access to public information, which is one of the conditions sine qua non for full and real political participation in order to attain sustained government, is at stake. However, although participatory, deliberative, and concerted democracy is unavoidable in the process of sustainable government, It does not mean that representative democracy no longer makes sense. Not well. We mean that it is necessary to combine entirety implies a deep articulation between representative democracy, which is composed by those who make the rules, and participatory democracy, which is composed by those who discuss the social issues, those who really live and feel the daily life problems, and they can say what is priority for people. We used to say in Portuguese, unidos somos mais fortes, juntos faremos proeza. That is, united we are stronger, and together we will do feats, deeds, marvelous things. In Latin, we can say, as the poet Rui Noronha says, Africa surget ambula. That is, Africa, get up and walk. Or we can use the words of Obama. Yes, we can. It's time for Africa. Thank you very much for your attention.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Pedro. It's really a pleasure to hear from Mozambique, and thank you for your insightful speech. We'll also hear from Dr. Paulino. So it's a great pleasure for us. Our conference is truly Pan-African. We have run through almost all the nations of the continent, all the sides at least, all the directions. I thank you very much. And I will see, I hope I will see you next year in our second International Pan-African Conference. And
thank you very much.
salute.
Thank you. It has been a pleasure.